What's up, bucket headers? It's Mark. Going to give you a recap from just the overall experience of last weekend with just the heats. I'm just going to address the heats today, and we'll go into some depth because there's some comments going on. I just want to try to explain, maybe smooth stuff over, talk about my mistakes that I made, and the real reason behind what we were trying to get done. Let's go back to just the beginning of Buckethead. I think Brian started this. The first race was in 07, and it's still going today as 2019. And it's really, it's pushing to have fun barefooting, fun endurance barefooting, and a very welcoming experience for people that have never done it before. This is not a sanctioned event or anything that's supposed to be extremely serious. Very grassroots level, and to get people out on the water and having fun together. So as you know, in 2015, which was the kind of the top year, somebody can correct me, I can't think off the top of my head. I think there's 12 boats that year, and not through anything that happened with other boats interacting with each other, but there was an incident, and after that, Brian and Kara, held back and didn't do anything for the 2016 officially. So that year, kind of made kind of a race, not really a race. I know Tim Benjamin tried planning on one date that I threw out there, and then it didn't happen that date, and he won't ever let it go. So 2016 rogue year, 2017 team up with Beth and myself, team up with Kara and Brian, and ask if we can help do it, if we help shoulder some of the huge weight that they've been taking on to put the race on, because the race is so much fun. So we formed the LLC and kicked off the 17 race. 2018 race, let's back this up. 2017, one of the things that we really talked about was how to keep it safe, how to, what does this actually mean? And how do we do this? So coming into 2018, I'd really put out the feeler, the idea of having heats. And if we went above 10 teams, we were gonna have heats for the 18 race. But we got to 10 and sign up cut off, and we didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to broach that subject. Obviously this year, we had great response with 2 to 3 weeks out. We had 13 teams signed up. Okay, now we really need to start thinking about heats. And it really comes down to a safety level. And actually, let's do this. Let me cut to some video right now of what I'm talking about from beginning of the race to the end of a race. Not really the end of the race, but even to the turnaround, and just the experience at the very beginning for racers that are out there. And probably the biggest thing I want to key on is, if you're fast, you're fast. You can get out front, you get the best water. If you get the best water, you can probably go the longest distance. If you can go the longest distance, you have the best chance of obviously getting a really low time. As we're trying to attract more barefooters to come to Buckethead or have this experience and be able to share this with them, we get more and more boats that are cut off or pinched off at the start. It's a scary situation. It is not fun, and it sets them up for just an absolute slog for the 38 miles. And so that is honestly my whole drive behind heats. Make it safe and make it fun. And after watching some drone footage for the last 4 or 5 races, let's just cut to that and we'll take a look and see what that looks like. Here's the start line on the river, 1,400 feet wide. 10 boats fit there nicely. Here's the 4-mile marker, 1,000 feet wide. We've already lost 400 feet out of the river. And then just for comparison, the last straightaway to the turnboat at 400 feet, 480 feet wide. Lost 1,000 feet. Here's the beginning of the 2018 race. Looking from upriver, looking down. And to the far right is number 1 boat, and number 2 and number 3, and they've left a lot of river open and have pinched the entire pack to the right. So instead of kind of curving with the river in their lane, they've opted to go point A to point B. And this leads to a situation where Who's Your Daddy is chasing down huge midgets about 200 feet off the skier, which is pretty dangerous. Interesting for 2018 is we had a pretty experienced crew out there. By crew, I mean teams. So as we come up to the 4 mile marker, we have almost everybody make it, minus, I think, 2 or 3 boats. We're going to see Morris Knuckle power turn before the 4 mile boat right here. Shame, shame. So the little white speck off in the distance is 4 mile boat. Top Gun is gone. They're enjoying the smooth water. Next boat that's going to do a turn is going to be Who's Your Daddy, a.k.a. Buttercup. There they go, turning. All right, so now this kind of starts the sequence. Far left is Huge Midgets. They go into a power turn, which pushes Deep Rudder to hard right as they start their power turn, which pushes them into Wolfpack, us. And if you watch the live footage from that, we all kind of scream. It's kind of frightening. We have to go around them. But check that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats north of turnaround, west of turnaround, or upriver. Oh, it's a lot of turnarounds. But very impressive. Very impressive. I can't imagine 10 being up there, which is a severe possibility. Here's a nice look back at some rough water, which is left by all the wakes immediately afterwards. And as we're trying to attract new teams that can't make it that entire distance, that's what they have to warrior through. Challenge. Here's the beginning to the 2015 race. Again, far left. Lots of room over there. Pinching everybody over to the right. You can see everybody getting pinched down in the middle here. By 15, I think this. I think that's 15. Huge Midgets. Now we're over on the other side of the river, actually. For the beginning of this race. This is either 14 or 15. Huge Midgets right next to their starboard side is Top Gun. They put down the hammer, drop away, and for some reason cut over to the left, which puts them into an upset mode and moves them over to the left to keep their skier safe, to keep Top Gun skier safe, while there's a huge gap over to the right. If we can continue to stay separated, that's great. We'll take more teams. But being 12 years into this, it's not what happens. Everybody pinches down. And if you have a bad draw and you're in the middle, you're challenged. Here's a nice shot from middle of the pack and deep. Because Morris Knuckle has drawn poorly and is in the middle. And everybody's going to go in front of them and pinch them off. If you're fast, you get way out front, you get smooth water. If you're not, you don't get smooth water. Motivation to get better? Sure. But we want to keep everybody safe. This is their first time driving this. Imagine looking down that. Trying to keep that skier on your right and on your left safe, but keeping everybody in your boat safe while keeping the skier behind you safe. Daunting task.
Yeah, bro, you got it. Woo!
Go, buddy.
I did this hide behind.
All right, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And just being able to separate everybody a little bit at the beginning, especially as everybody's getting a heck of a lot better. More boats are getting a 4 mile. It's really impressive, and it's a lot of fun. This is where I screwed up this year. I really had the idea for heats, and we talked about this at drivers meeting. I really wanted to set a precedent. How the heck do we figure out who's in first heat, who's in second heat? And I had it stuck in my head of, well, if you predicted the year before, we'd have a time, and you get to show up and race in that. Here is a whole bunch of mistakes that I made. The whole point of this barefooting and doing what we're doing is what for me is to race next to somebody else and experience that rush of going against another team. And we had that this year with the huge midgets. One of the most fun times I've had. I unfortunately took that away from Breakfast Boys by putting them in the second heat, by sticking to my guns and saying, well, this is a decision that I made, and this is what we're going for. And really, that wasn't fair to them because they wanted to be up front, and they should have been up front in first heat. So I'll own that. There was nothing more behind that. We're not trying to stack teams. The Top Gun team, or Heath and Brent hopping in with Brian and Teddy and Ben and Boyce. That wasn't some huge scheme for those guys to win, just to knock it out of the park. Obviously, at an hour and 4 minutes or hour 6 minutes or whatever they read, and if you watch their live footage, it was a struggle. I think they had a challenging time, and obviously they'd never practiced together, and I think it says a lot to them just getting together and trying to have fun, but obviously it wasn't something that they had really planned on doing, and it just worked out that way. Beyond that, there was not some huge conspiracy to keep the Breakfast Boys down. I screwed up and not letting you guys come up because I really had it stuck in my head of, hey, precedent time, and then I'm sticking to my guns, and I'll own that. Sorry about that. I don't want to take that away from you guys, and especially only coming in a little over a minute or whatever it was after those guys, and knowing what you had to go through, because how quick you were and where you were passing us at 20 minutes out. Really impressive, really impressive. I think moving forward at 10 plus boats, we will have heats. And I think one of the things that I'd like to broach and bring up is, if you've had experience, it's actually going to be more of a questionnaire when you fill out the Eventbrite. If you guys want to come back, I hope you do. Is, have you raced before? No? Okay. Yes? Okay. Are you here for fun? Yes. Are you here to win? If you're here to win, that weighs a little bit more. What other credentials do you have to do this? And then from here on out, we're probably gonna have more conversations with teams. Are you practicing together? Do you have a plan? What are you guys really looking for? Because I'd like to have the really fast guys that are gonna be serious and be able to compete with each other in the first heat, second heat, the guys that we're really trying to attract and get growing, barefooting and endurance racing and coming from across the country and racing in there. And I truly did not want the animosity that's happening right now, especially on Facebook. Nothing ill will towards you guys, not our intention, but it worked out that way, and sorry. Moving forward, if you have suggestions, hit me, DM us, call me. Just hit 317-409-5041 is my cell. Call us. Let's figure it out. This is supposed to be a fun event. If you don't like how we did it at all, please create your own race. I'd love to go to it. We need more races in the throughout the year, because between Buckethead and Dam to Dam, there needs to be a couple more. So, hit me up.